Story creates community. Story creates community. When you start to tell stories, people begin, now they have a common thing they can start talking to you about. So we were at the event, right? We're at the boot camp, and Kendall Ficklin was speaking, and he was talking about, how, he was talking about how he overcame alcoholism and it was a struggle. And he was talking about like some of his challenges with drinking. What's so interesting is once he got off, right, I had a conversation with Basim came up to me. He was like, yo, like, he was like, yo, I'm feeling that, brother, because I've been through the same, situation. I've been through the same battle as well. And we were kind of just, vibing out. And I was letting him know, like, yo, since college, like I was in college, I was like I was the typical party frat guy drinking. And then I went, and because and for me, I ended up catching 2 DUIs after college, just continuing the lifestyle. Like I'm still in college, mind you, I've already graduated. Right. And so we were kind of just vibing out and really just talking. And it was because of that story that really helped create a conversation. It really helped create a community. Right. Let me share something with y'all. Who here has experienced trauma before? Just raise your hand. If you experienced some type of trauma, look around. You know how many people in the world experience trauma? What if you started telling more stories about the trauma that you've been through? You know how many people you will help? You would literally help half the people on this call if you told the story. Right? So that's the importance of stories. Make sense? All right. So then the natural next question is, well, coach, what are the different types of stories? So there's different types of stories we can tell. All right. So that's what we're going to go through right now. So we're going to write this. Everybody put in your notes. We're going to call this the story. Make sure I'm spelling this right. The story syllabus. The story syllabus. Story syllabus. Okay? Story syllabus. So in the story syllabus there's 4 different types of stories that we're going to focus on. The very first one, this is the one, a lot of us, we know this one. This one is rags to riches. Rags to riches is the first one. We should be everywhere we go telling what our rags to riches story. Now, riches doesn't necessarily mean money. Riches can mean I was rock bottom, or I wasn't in a place where I wanted to be, and I made it to a place where I've gotten some type of results that's better than where I started off. So if I'm talking to rags to riches, I'm telling a story of essentially how I got started. I'm from New York City, from the Bronx. Literally, I didn't know anybody successful growing up. All I knew was successful drug dealers that was, getting money on the block, but I didn't know any entrepreneurs. I didn't know anybody I didn't know any authors, no speakers, no coach. I didn't know anybody. But I went from that, and a lot of times like eating syrup sandwiches, right? Not really family, not really. I grew up with my grandmother, half of my pre-adult life, and, Section 8, food stamps. Like that was the situation that I was in. And I went from that to enrolling in college, getting my bachelor's degree, getting my master's degree, realizing that a lot of the people that I knew weren't graduating. So my early ambition was, let me just show you how to graduate and get into your career field. I started helping people with that. Didn't know bumps, bruises, couldn't really figure this out. It took me years to kind of on my journey to trying to figure this whole thing out. I stumbled upon actually the importance of actually getting coaches. They started telling me the right things to do. And once I started following advice from my coaches, I literally went from 0 to multiple 6 figures. I went from 0 impact in the world to just in the last 2 years over COVID, I've impacted over 2 million people with my reach and training online. I have hundreds of people each and every month lining up to have conversations with me. That's rags to riches. And I just told that story in like 60 seconds. So your stories don't have to be long. Does that make sense? Rags to riches story. And they don't have to be your core rags to riches. Like it can be certain derivatives of what you teach, right? And if you have any questions on that, I'll let you know. All right, so that's number one. Number two, write this down. This is the second type of story you can do. We call this reluctant hero. Reluctant hero. Reluctant hero. Reluctant hero. Coach, what is reluctant hero? This is a story that you can tell that essentially you were hard-headed. Essentially, you were reluctant to make a change, to take a leap, to move forward. You were reluctant, but you ended up doing it and you got great results. What did that's different than, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to achieve this. That's different than I didn't want to do it. What story can you tell where I didn't want to do it, but when I decided to do it is when I got better results, right? So, for example, there was, when I graduated, I'm like, all right, I had it in the back of my mind and I'm like, I probably should just be getting turned up every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I probably shouldn't be, I was still good. I was still going to work. I was still making a lot of money at this time. I was like near six figures, pretty much making six figures. And this is like corporate America, right? But I was still like the turn up king, at this point, I'm with my girl, but I'm still like, yo, let's get together. Like I'm spending a lot of money just on, just buying bottles, Henny, doing all the kind of things, right? And, but I knew that I'm like, all right, I should be chilling out because, I want to, I'm spending a lot of money doing this. At the time, it wasn't on my radar to really start coaching people yet, but I'm just like, yo, I want to be able to, I just kind of felt like there was something else I should be doing. I'm at my job, I'm doing cybersecurity, but I was reluctant to really make a change. It wasn't until I caught one DUI coming from a bar with one of my frat brothers, and then caught another DUI a year later coming from a party. And, if y'all know the law, 3 strikes you out. I would have been a felon, right? Like I was this close, right? So I remember getting in front of the judge. What's crazy is, if anybody had any run-ins with the law, the last thing you want is to get back in front of the same judge. That is the last thing that you want to do. So I got back in front of this judge and she said, weren't you just in my court like a year ago? And I said, yeah, I was kind of looking down. And she said, if I ever see you in my courtroom again, I'm gonna throw the book at you. She was like, you're in school, like you graduated college, you got a good head on your shoulders, you got a bright future. She said, I never want to see you in my courtroom again. Thank God she never saw me again, right? But it was that day that I said, you know what? Like, I really got to make a change. Now, just because she said it, I said that I wasn't drinking no more. I tried, I still was drinking. Now, I wasn't necessarily drinking and driving. I kind of slowed that down, right? I'm like, all right, chill. Let me like find an Uber. Let me try to get like some help here or there. But it wasn't until about, and I don't know how many years it's been. I feel like it's probably been almost 4 years. I want to say this summer is probably going to be 4 years since I had my last drink. It wasn't until I really started getting serious about this business, and there's nothing wrong with drinking, but I'm talking about for my personal. It wasn't until I really started seeing and I started getting serious about business that I said, oh, nah, this is impacting me. Money, time, just like I can't be waking up with hangovers and I got things I'm supposed to be doing and working on my business and serving people and helping. I'm like, hold on. Like I don't really want to, I don't really want to do it because I like the enjoyment of it. I like the social aspect of drinking. But I said, you know what? I said, I got to do it because there's so much more at stake. And I stopped drinking. And that was about 3.5 years ago. Right. And since I stopped drinking, that was when, boom, I took off. And I was on like a fast track. And then that was when I was on a fast track to really making six figures, right? Reluctant hero, something that I didn't really want to do, but because I took it, then that helped me, right? Some of us was like that when coaching, right? You was like, should I do coaching? Should I not? I don't really know. Should I? But you did it, and you're like, oh wow, this isn't as bad as I thought. Oh wow, I can do it. Oh wow, I am confident. Reluctant hero, whatever your story is. Does that make sense? Number 3 is getting started as a coach. Getting started as a coach. Somebody put that in the chat for us, please. Getting started as a coach. Getting started as a coach, that is your journey for how you became a coach. So for you, that's going to be a different journey than necessarily a rags to riches, right? Because there's a lot of people who potentially made it, let's say, for example, made it through trauma. And now they went from, I'm in depression. I'm lacking self-esteem. I was in an abusive relationship. I made it up out of it. I'm confident. I'm starting my own business now. I'm running my own business. Like, I'm back into a new relationship. That could be a rags to riches story. But it's a lot of people who made it through, but they're not coaching. So you also got to tell the story of how'd you get into the space of actually being a coach and helping people. Does that make sense?